Hello, my puzzle-loving friends. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to part 2 of our murder on the Titanic. If you have not seen part 1, please do so now so you will not be lost while I'm reading my story. We're going to start off exactly where we left off in the first video, so it's going to be in the middle of the story. Just a recap, we are working on a 1,000-piece puzzle. We are solving the murder mystery on the Titanic. The story is by John Lutz. Let's go ahead and jump right into the story. Before either sister could say anything, he stepped between them and wrapped his huge arms gently around their waists. He walked with them towards an exit. "I hope I see both of you again under better circumstances," he told them. "Better circumstances," Gloria said, "would be New York." "It's a date then," Tex said. "No, I didn't mean—" Grinning, Tex made a motion as if to tip his hat and withdrew again into the smoking room. "Another fortune hunter," Gloria said. "You've listened too much to Mother," Gwendolyn told her. "Besides, he seems much more interested in you than in me." Gloria sniffed as if there was a bad smell about. "He's a gambler. He knows how to hedge a bet." She clutched Gwendolyn's hand and forced her along as they walked. In their stateroom, as the twins were preparing for bed, Gwendolyn stood behind Gloria, who was seated before the dresser mirror putting up her hair. Both women were in identical, delicate blue nightgowns their mother had given them for the voyage. "You really shouldn't be so sharp and critical of every man who takes an interest in us," Gwendolyn said. "It isn't us," Gloria told her. "It's you. For heaven's sake, there isn't any reason for you to be jealous." Gloria put down her comb and pins and turned around to face Gwendolyn. "Oh, dear Gwen, don't you realize I'm not jealous? Can't you figure out why it's you and not me who attracts the attention of these men?" Gwendolyn stared at her. "It's because of your obvious poor health," Gloria said. "These men are fortune hunters. Money, and not love, is what's drawing them. They want to marry into money. Then they want to inherit, and the sooner the better." Gwendolyn's face changed as she realized what her sister was saying. She began to cry. She then spun on her heel and flung herself onto the bed. It soon became evident that dozens of men on board were intrigued by the twins, though no one displayed that as much as Lipton, Burnsword, or Tex. On the fourth day at sea, a Sunday, the Emberton twins had an early breakfast, then attended church. None of the suitors made an appearance that morning, as if they decided Sunday was a day of rest in their quest for dollars. But at lunch, the sisters were joined by Tex, who was dressed in a wide-shouldered, chalk-striped suit that didn't fool Gloria. This man was trying to look like a cattle baron, but beneath the expensive clothes, he was more likely an American cowboy with temporary cash in his pocket, or perhaps one of the card sharks rumored to be on board. The truly cultured and wealthy could recognize each other without speaking, though apparently Gwendolyn hadn't yet learned that knack. Tex sat nearer to Gloria than Gwendolyn. "I didn't notice a difference between you lovely ladies," he said with a grin. Both women stared at him. "Other than Gwendolyn's cough?" Gloria asked. "Oh, yes, Miss Gloria. You've got this tiny mole on your neck just behind your right ear, and Gwendolyn doesn't. But I do declare that's the only difference I see." He ordered coffee from the steward who had appeared at the table. Then he leaned towards both sisters. "Do you really think those two fellows who were in the smoking room the other night are fortune hunters?" "I believe we finished our lunch," Gloria said, cutting the conversation short. She stood up and Gwendolyn also stood. "And at least one of us knows a fortune hunter when we see one." Tex looked up at her, his face serious. "You could be wrong, lovely Gloria." Ignoring him, she strode away. Gwendolyn followed, but she glanced back and gave Tex a fleeting smile. "I understand there's danger of ice in these waters," a voice said when Gloria was taking an afternoon walk on the promenade deck. She turned to see Alan Lipton smiling at her. "I'm not Gwendolyn," Gloria said. "I know. No handkerchief. no coughing up blood. Gloria knew what was coming now. Like Tex, Lipton had decided to hedge his bet and attempt to woo both sisters. Lipton removed his hat and held it before him with both hands. I wanted a chance to get you alone, so I could talk to you, he said almost shyly. Gloria raised an eyebrow. Did you now? She said with disdain. Lipton moved closer to her, and his handsome face took a sincere expression. I'm not what you call a romantic sort, he said, but I happen to believe in love at first sight. That's how it was with your sister and me. I understand that you have her best interest at heart, and I admire that. But believe me, I have the same protective feelings about her, and my intentions are most honorable. He sighed and looked into her eyes. For Gwendolyn's sake, I want the two of us to be friends. Can you believe me, Gloria? Mr. Lipton, only a smitten fool like my sister would believe you. Now excuse me. Gloria turned away from him and walked toward the entrance to the first-class stairway. Ice indeed, Lipton muttered behind her. When the sisters dressed for dinner and dancing that evening, Gloria put on her lovely rose dress. She added a pearl necklace, gold and coral tasseled drop earrings, and draped a mink stole over her shoulders. She surveyed herself in the mirror and decided she looked stunning. Gwendolyn wore a simple black dress and carried her ever-present handkerchief in a beaded evening bag. Her one piece of jewelry was a diamond and ruby necklace, and that had been in the family for generations. But even the necklace couldn't add luster to Gwendolyn. Gloria decided that her sister looked like a drab version of herself. Both Burnsword and Lipton managed to get themselves seated at the same table as the Everton twins for dinner. In such mixed company, the conversation was guarded and polite. But when Lipton passed the salt to Gwendolyn, his hand brushed hers and lingered for a long moment before withdrawing. After dinner, Tex appeared and asked Gloria to dance. He did it in such a way that she couldn't refuse without causing a scene. On the dance floor, she was surprised by how smoothly he led her. But then, smoothness was his business. You really shouldn't think so poorly of me, he said as they glided through a waltz. But I don't think of you at all, she told him. He only smiled. I'll win you over yet, Miss Gloria. It was after several dances that Gwendolyn gave a cry, like a wounded bird. What is that? Adam Lipton asked in alarm. It's missing, Gwendolyn said. My necklace. It's gone. She raised fluttering hands to her bare neck. Who have you danced with? Gloria asked immediately. Why, a dozen different men, Mr. Burnsword and Tex. And Adam Lipton? Gloria asked. Yes, I'm proud to say. Lipton glared at Gloria as he spoke. He spilled wine on his dinner jacket and removed it, and in his shirt and suspenders looked strong and dangerous, causing Gloria to have second thoughts about taunting him. The necklace wasn't necessarily stolen, another man said. It might have broken and fallen off. Everyone standing nearby instinctively stared down at the floor near their feet, then in a wider circle. But the necklace wasn't found on the floor, or found anywhere else. After an extensive search, there was some heated discussion about searching the passengers, but most of those who'd been dancing had drifted away. Gwendolyn was crying softly as the two women left into their staterooms. It was almost 11:30 when there was a knock on the stateroom door. Gloria opened it to find Tex standing in the passageway. He smiled. May I come in, Miss Gloria? She stepped back to allow him entry. He nodded at Gwendolyn and gave a little motion as if to tip his hat. Then he reached into his coat pocket, withdrew the missing necklace, and handed it to Gwendolyn. She glowed as she accepted it. Where on earth did you find it? In the lining of Adam Lipton's dinner jacket that was slung over a chair, he said. He must have stolen it when you two were dancing. Gwendolyn's glow disappeared, and she looked ashen as she slumped in her chair. I don't believe that. She stuffed the necklace into her white and gold evening bag as if to protect it. I'm only telling you the facts, Tex said. I'm sorry if that caused you pain, but the truth's the truth. When Gwendolyn began to sob, Gloria edged Tex towards the door. "Thank you," she said. "Maybe you'll think better of me now," he told her from the passageway. "I could have kept the necklace." "I do think better of you," she said. "But you can't know how it is to be a woman of marriageable age and have wealth. There's no way not to be suspicious of men," she confided. She touched his arm before closing the door gently, locking him out of the room. When Gwendolyn had sobbed for almost an hour, she looked up and said, "I'm going to undress, go to bed, and pull the covers over my head." "No, you're not," Gloria told her. "It's not even midnight. When you've made yourself presentable, we're going to go confront Adam Lipton." Gwendolyn was too depressed to argue. But Adam Lipton wasn't to be found. Maybe he discovered the necklace missing from his dinner jacket and realized his crime was known. The twins were in the first-class lounge on A deck when the ship gave a slight lurch. Several people about to sip their drinks sloshed liquid on themselves and reached for napkins. Others sat and watched their scotch, bourbon, or wine rippling in their glasses. Conversation and laughter ceased for a moment, then continued as before. The slight interruption in the ship's steady progress was forgotten. "We should separate," Gloria said. "That will double our chances of finding Lipton." "I'm not sure I want to find him," Gwendolyn said, "but I know this is necessary." "We all have to summon the strength to do what's necessary," Gloria told her. For possibly the first time, her sister looked at Gloria as if she understood and believed her. Then the sisters left each other to hurry off in opposite directions. Gwendolyn was near the cafe on B deck, and Gloria was in the veranda and palm court on A deck, when a deafening whistle began blowing over and over. It stopped only for an incredible announcement to be made. The ship had struck an iceberg, and passengers were to don life jackets and go immediately up the deck. Her heart hammering, her mind still trying to grasp what was happening, Gloria strode toward the first-class stairway, and her and Gwendolyn's B-deck stateroom where their life jackets were stored. Men and women hurrying everywhere, some of them dragging stunned and confused children. No one was panicking yet, but panic was near. The dark fear in their eyes was itself terrifying. "Gwendolyn! Where is Gwendolyn?" Gwendolyn was standing just inside the doorway to a private promenade deck, close to Adam Lipton. She didn't see Gloria notice them, then moved back into the shadows and watched and listened to them. "I stole the necklace, only in order to return it to you," Lipton was saying. His voice was pleading, beseeching Gwendolyn to believe him. "I wanted to get in your and your sister's good graces by pretending to find the necklace later, when I returned it. You'd both know I was in love and not interested in your money." "You must have been shocked when it wasn't where you left it in the lining of your jacket," Gwendolyn told him. "I was, but it doesn't matter now. Whatever happens tonight or for the rest of our lives, I want you to believe I really love you. I want to marry you and have children. I want us to spend forever together." Gwendolyn threw her arms around his neck. "I do believe you, Adam, and I love you. I will marry you." As they kissed to seal the bargain, Gloria hurried on to the stateroom. She was struggling into her life jacket when Gwendolyn burst through the door. "The crew's trying to keep everyone calm," Gwendolyn said, "but the ship is starting to tilt. I think we're going to sink." "It's not time to be alarmed yet," Gloria told her. "Anyways, there are lifeboats." "I heard there aren't enough." "Don't be silly," Gloria said. "There must be rules about having enough lifeboats for the passengers to fit into. It's simple mathematics." "Did you find Adam Lipton?" "No," Gwendolyn said. "I searched, but I didn't see him." "You're lying," Gloria said. "I saw you together. I heard you." Gwendolyn looked as if she might cry for a moment. Then she became defiant. "Adam took the necklace for a reason." "Of course, he planned to sell it in New York." "That isn't so. You don't want us to be together because you're jealous." "Of you?" And that cheap confidence mad? That's absurd. We're going to be married, Gwendolyn said, stepping toward Gloria, taunting her. Gloria slapped her. Even more absurd. Now give me the necklace for safekeeping. Gwendolyn lost her temper and shoved Gloria, who stumbled into a table and picked up a heavy glass ashtray. Now, it was she who was advancing upon Gwendolyn. Gwendolyn backed up a few steps before reaching into her beaded evening bag and withdrawing a small silver revolver. There was a wilted down champagne cork stuck in its barrel. She pointed the gun at Gloria. Where did you get that? Gloria demanded. Adam gave it to me. The cork in the barrel is to minimize damage from seawater, so the gun will still fire if I need it during whatever's going to happen. Adam said the bullet will blow the cork away if I shoot, so don't come any closer. Gloria laughed. You? Shoot someone? You're weak, Gwendolyn. You're without the willpower to live your own life, much less commit murder. Give me the necklace. Gwendolyn started to warn her sister again, but was seized by a violent coughing fit. That's when the ship tilted even more towards the bow. The aged Gwendolyn continued weakly from her bed. It was the so-called watertight compartments filling one by one like compartments in an ice cube tray. Gwendolyn was sure then they were going to the bottom. She made her way up on deck, expecting to find panic. There was some, but most people were calm, resigned, even though they were terrified. The crew and male passengers were helping women and children into lifeboats. Gwendolyn looked around but couldn't find anyone she knew. There was only one more space available in the nearest lifeboat. As a crewman clutched her arm and started to help her into the lifeboat, Louise Burnsword elbowed past and tried to claim the space. His eyes were wild, and he was clutching a bound sheaf of papers, his play, beneath his arm. The crewman started to deal with him, but suddenly Tex Bauer was there. He grabbed Burnsword around the waist and pulled him back. The next thing Gwendolyn knew, she was in the lifeboat and was being lowered to the sea. Oars were placed in the water, and they began moving away from the Titanic. As they got farther away, it became more obvious that the ship was about to sink. Its bow was low, and its stern was raised so high that the huge underwater propellers were visible. It was quiet, so cold, it was near freezing. Then, the band assembled on the deck and began to play. The music came clearly over the dark, cold water. As they rowed farther from the ship, Gwendolyn saw Tex and a subdued Louise Burnsword standing near each other on the deck. Tex raised his right hand. Gwendolyn thought he was going to make his motion as if tipping his hat, but instead he pointed to his neck, just behind his right ear. It wasn't long after that when the bow went all the way under and the ship began to slide into the sea. The music stopped, and people started screaming. Gwendolyn could see some of them jump into the ocean, only to be pulled down by the suction when the stern raised high and the Titanic plunged to its grave and left only a black and empty sea. It was so sudden, it shocked everyone. In the cold water, it was only a short time before the screaming stopped. The Titanic sank a little before 2:30 in the morning. It was about 4 when they were rescued. Here, an aged Gwendolyn withdrew a withered hand from beneath the covers and handed Ella a large brass key. That will unlock a room in the attic, she said weakly, and it will unlock all the secrets. My trunk that washed up after the sinking is there. Some other things. Her chin sank deeply to her bony chest, and it was obvious that she was dying. Her last utterance was one of deep regret as she touched a forefinger to her heart. I didn't mean to hit her there. Shaken and confused, Ella wondered what secret her grandmother meant. Was she confessing to shooting and killing her twin sister just before the Titanic sank? She had mentioned solving a murder. That night, Ella and her fiancé, Elliot Nance, went to the attic and used the key. It fit perfectly, and the smell and the mustiness of time and the past drifted out at them. 20 minutes later, Ella sat cross-legged on the attic floor and explained to Elliot what must have happened on the night the Titanic sank. So that is the story, my puzzle-loving friends. So now, as we assemble our puzzle, we are going to see if we can uncover, using the clues from the puzzle, what happened that fateful night. Please make sure you keep an eye on my channel. If you liked this video, go ahead and press that like button. If you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button. Also, go ahead and hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of my videos that will be coming out soon. I really appreciate you all spending this time with me. Please go ahead and follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I will be updating you about videos coming out, puzzles I'll be doing. Keep an eye out for the next part of this puzzle so we can solve this mystery together. Y'all have a great day. Thank you. Goodbye.